We just recently bought a car here in Germany, and the experience was completely different than what we would have had in the United States.
The past 3 months living here in Germany, we've been completely carless. And really the past year and 2 months since we've been traveling, we've been without a car. So here in Germany, we've just been relying on the public transportation. However, the area of Germany we live in is not quite a bustling metropolis, so the trains really only come once every hour with some buses every now and then. So it's made it a little tricky to schedule around those times. We also bought bikes to help with our transportation needs, and we've been using those. However, winter rolled in and the rainy season, so we don't use those quite as often now that it's really cold. So because of all of this, we decided that along with public transportation and our bikes, we wanted to get a car in order to be able to travel and be a little bit more spontaneous.
So this is our experience of buying a car here in Germany and everything that we went through that was different than what we would have gone through if we were buying a car in the United States. When we started our search, we started it just like we probably would have if we were still in the United States, by searching online. There were 2 websites here that we found were very good at helping us filter through our specific needs and finding what we were looking for, and that was autoscout24.de and mobile.de. Once we found a few options on those websites that we liked, we started calling those dealers that were listed, and we were finding out if those cars were actually still available. The cars that we were looking at came from kind of smaller lots where the cars were really packed in tight, so we actually had to set up appointments to go and test drive and look at the vehicles, but you can just go to lots just like you would in the US and walk around and look at the different cars and see what options you have. But whenever you do that here in Germany, it is a much more pleasant experience than if you do it in the United States.
In the US, we're used to when you walk onto a car lot, you're immediately greeted by a car salesman who can be a little pushy and aggressive because they're working for a commission sale. However, our experience with the car lots that we looked at here in Germany were a lot different. We walked onto the lots, weren't greeted by anyone. We just were able to walk around, look at the cars, take our time, and talk through everything. And then when we were ready, we went inside, talked to a car salesman who came out and was able to answer all of our questions.
One of the first big differences during our car search here versus in the US is the number of manual vehicles available here versus automatics. A statistic shows that 96% of vehicles in the US are automatics. Because of that fact, we never had to learn how to drive a stick shift. We've always driven automatics, but we knew that coming to Europe, manuals are a lot more common to drive than automatic vehicles. So we had a friend who luckily had a manual vehicle, and they took us out to teach us how to drive. However, it did not go well, so we never really learned.
It's bad.
Okay, so off the brake. Give it a little bit of gas. Okay. Yeah.
Too much.
So push the clutch in, let off the gas. There you go. Okay. Very nice.
Bob is clutch in, brake, and shift it into first.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't have the clutch all the way down.
Yeah, it means like to the floor down.
No!
Oh, did it die?
There you go.
Dang it! Okay, so
See if we turn back on. There we go.
so
Alright.
That smells so bad.
Okay, clutch,
no.
clutch.
Oh no.
Okay, brake.
but it's kind of weird because like coming to a stop, you got to just shove the clutch in.
But literally on lots here, we would guess that like 20, maybe 30% of vehicles on lots are automatic. The rest are all manuals. And automatic vehicles also are a little bit more expensive than the manuals. So if you only know how to do that like we did, you're going to end up paying a little bit more potentially, and it's going to be harder to find. And that's what we found in our case.
The other thing that's different is that they usually do not negotiate car prices here in Germany. We did a lot of research before we did our car shopping, and we saw that most people were saying they don't negotiate prices, but sometimes they might if you can show that you can pay completely in cash. However, this didn't work for us. We tried all the tricks like walking away and
Asking for them to lower the price kindly.
yeah, not that many tricks.
Yeah, our 2 tricks.
But this did not work for us. So
We paid full price.
True. However, this is completely different than in the US where it is standard that you will haggle and negotiate prices.
That is, of course, unless you're doing some kind of new form of car buying, like ordering a Tesla online, where there is no negotiating in the US too. There are a lot of car brands that are driven around in our local area that we see a lot of and seem very popular, but that we have never even heard of. We're not really car people either, just throwing that out there, so we don't really know car brands, but we also have never really seen these on the roads, at least in our part of the United States. Car brands like Opel, Citroën, I don't know how to pronounce that one, Renault, Peugeot, and there are also a lot of car brands that are considered luxury brands in the United States that we see a lot more commonly on the roads here because these car brands are manufactured here in Germany, so they're a lot more affordable to get here and they're a lot more common to come by. Car brands like BMW, Mercedes, Audi, VW, these are all over the road.
After we paid for our car, the next part was also different from what we would experience in the US. In the US, after you buy a car, you're given a temporary license plate and given 30 days to get a new license plate, but you're able to just take your car and drive it off the lot and take it home. However, here our experience was different. We paid for our car and then we weren't able to take it home because of a series of other steps you have to do before you can get your car.
One of the very first things that had to be done after we made the deal on the vehicle was it had to go in for an inspection. Every 2 years, cars here in Germany have to go in for an inspection known as a TÜV, in which a mechanic checks to make sure that it is still roadworthy. If they find anything that is broken or isn't good for driving, then you are required to get it fixed. In order for us to not have to do it for another 2 years, part of the deal when we bought the car was that the dealer would take it for a brand new TÜV. They fronted the cost, which was about 120 euros they told us, which was really nice that we didn't have to do that immediately.
The next thing that had to be done before we could take our car home was we had to get car insurance. Here in Germany, we have heard that car insurance is a very competitive market and there are hundreds of car insurance companies. We also heard that November is the only window of time in the whole year that you can change your car insurance. So because of this, people will shop around and find all kinds of different deals if they want to change their car insurance. We luckily were able to just use our American insurance. They were able to cover us here in Germany, so we didn't have to dig through all of that.
Once the TÜV inspection was completed and we had our insurance, we then had to wait for all of that paperwork along with the other car documents to be sent from the dealer to our house by post. Once I finally got all of those, I then had to collect it all and take it to the Zulassungsbehörde and get the car registered. I had to show them the TÜV inspection, I had to show them the proof of insurance, my blue card, bank information, the car paperwork, etc., etc. It was a lot to take with me. Then they gave me a slip of paper. I simply walked across the hall. They gave me 2 license plates that I had to pay for, which were about 61 euros in total. One for the front, one for the back, of course, which is a little bit different also from where we're from in Oklahoma, where the license plates are only on the back of the vehicle. I had to go back into the room, show them the proof that I paid for the license plates. Then I had to get a little green sticker with the number 4 on it, which shows the emissions level from our vehicle. This goes in the windshield of the car. It costs about 6 euros. This allows us to drive anywhere in Germany. Depending on the emissions of your vehicle, you're actually not allowed to drive in a lot of the major cities. For instance, cities like Munich are starting to outlaw and ban all diesel vehicles from the inner city. You have to have the sticker on your windshield to prove that you're low enough emissions and you can legally drive and it's good for the environment.
The whole process from the time that we paid for the car until we got all the paperwork that we needed in order to get the car took a solid week. After that, we were able to call the car salesman and set up an appointment to go pick up the car, just like we did whenever we had to make an appointment to test drive it. When we picked up the car, he simply slapped on the license plate, gave us the keys, and we drove on.
Of course, there are also a lot of different ways that you can buy a car here, not just this one way of buying a used vehicle. You can also find a private sale somewhere in town and you can buy it that way. But we wanted to go through a lot specifically because we knew that they would help a lot with the paperwork that was required to actually obtain the vehicle.
You can also buy a new car, which we've read is also different here in Germany than in the US. In the US, when you buy a new car, generally you just drive it right off the lot. However, here in Germany, we have read that you usually have to have a car shipped from the factory to the dealer, which comes at a higher price than what is shown on the ticket because of the delivery fee. You also have the option of what is called a factory pickup, where you go directly to the factory and drive your car home from there.
So just like we're listing off here, there are a lot of different ways that you can buy a car here. People have different experiences, but this has primarily been our experience of buying a car here in Germany versus what we have seen in the United States. So we hope that you've enjoyed seeing the differences between the two systems and what we saw whenever we were actually buying a car here in Germany. If you have any questions about buying a car here, leave those in the comments, or if you've experienced different things whenever you were buying it, whether it be in the United States or in Germany, leave those in the comments also. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and also subscribe so you can see more of our adventures and more of our videos coming out soon. We'd love to have you travel with us.
Bye. You kind of sound like an auctioneer. You're gonna have a little script you say too.
Action! When we first started searching for a car, action again. When we first started searching for a car, we started in the United States. We have seen. One of the very first things that had to be taken care of after we made the vehicle.
We didn't make it sequel. Dang.